besties, and welcome back. So today it's kind of just like a weekly reading vlog. Well, that's what it was supposed to be, but it ended up being 2 weeks. So what you're about to watch is going to be 2 weeks of what I read in those weeks realistically, and also kind of ended up being like reading hyped up books for a week because all the books I read are like super popular right now. That's that. With no further ado, let's get started. Hi, it's day one of this adventure. The first book we're starting with is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I have read up to page 33 today and I'm actually kind of liking it so far. It starts off like right into the story, like no world building or anything, so it is a little confusing because there's just names you don't know yet and just like you don't really know the world yet. Usually I tend to prefer that in books because I'm just like invested right away, but it would also be nice to like know who's who and what's going on. Obviously the premise of this, a romantasy, I think it's YA maybe. I thought it was adult at first, but I think it's actually YA. In this world there are the elites, and basically some time ago there was this plague that came and got rid of all of the ordinaries and they're banished from the society. And our main girl Peyton, I love that name by the way, Peyton, that's like unique and we love it. She is an ordinary, but she's pretending to be an elite, so no one knows that she's actually an ordinary. And she's also like a thief, which we love reading about thieves. And there are these like trials in this. I'm picturing the Hunger Games type thing. I don't really know much about it yet, but it's just like we have to compete. I'm not too sure how it works, but I'm assuming she's going to be competing in it. And it is dual POV. You're getting the perspective from the guy who, I think he's the king's son. I'm liking this so far. I think it's going to be a super good book. I have really high expectations. It also has like really cute like designs throughout, and I just love that in books. I just feel like it adds so much. Today's like a decently jam-packed day, but I definitely want to read a chunk of this because I feel like I'm gonna love it. So yeah. Okay, it's still Monday. I am on page 53. I'm hoping to get big chunk done right now. It's going good. It's definitely interesting. I've read 2 chapters I think from the guy's POV, and I don't know, he seems a little bit rude, but I mean it's kind of how all guys are in these like enemies lovers fantasies, so we'll see if he grows on me. I made it to page 108, chapter 13, and I think we're gonna be done for the day. The trial is kind of starting. They are all at the palace, so it's getting interesting and I'm excited to read it tomorrow. Okay y'all, it's like 2 p.m. and I'm just starting to read for the first time today. I've had an insane day. We are starting on page 145. I'm super excited. I'd give a little update. I'm on page 187. It's going pretty good. I am liking it. I'm not like super obsessed with it. That's okay because the main thing, the trial, hasn't started yet. They're kind of in preparation for it. Like there's interviews and balls. Once the trial starts, I feel like it's gonna be giving Hunger Games, but right now after something that just happened, it's kind of giving me the Selection vibes. Not in the sense that the prince chooses a princess, but just like other stuff that happened in the world with the Selection. So it's getting good. I'm gonna keep reading and we'll see. Update. We are on page 267. The trial is in full swing. I'm not sure how many like individual trials they are, but the first one lasts for a week and it's definitely a Hunger Games-esque. The romance isn't really going how I thought it would. Like I thought it'd be more enemies to loversy, but they're kind of working together on something. So I just wanted to start recording because I feel like I just predicted what's gonna happen, and if I'm right, I was wrong. Okay, what I thought didn't happen, but things are still turning. Like I definitely assumed that this would happen. There was definitely hints about this, but the other thing I thought would happen didn't happen. Maybe it will though. We'll see. So This is not really a good sign when I do this, but I want to start a romance, start another book, because I've just been called to this book. Whenever I do that, I forget about the other book I read, and it's not that I'm not enjoying it, but I'm just kind of in a romance mood. I need to force myself to finish it because I'm over halfway. I made it to page 310, which I actually read a lot today. I would love to get to page 400 and finish this tomorrow. We'll see. One thing I will say is part of the pacing is kind of weird. So they were in the middle of the trial and it lasted a week, and we just fast forwarded 3 days while we were there. I'm like, why are we fast forwarding 3 days for no reason when I'm sure stuff happened here in the middle of a trial? And then just now they were at the end of said trial, and we got the end from the guy's perspective-ish, not the total end of it, and then we jump ahead again. I'm like, there was still things to cover. I have questions, and I don't know who won. Like, I'm confused about that. Okay, I'm starting to get a little bored because all that is happening in this book is them, like, flirting. They don't say they have feelings or act on them. It's definitely more romance than fantasy, and I like it when there's more fantasy than romance. Good morning, besties. So I'm finishing this book right now. I have like 60 pages left. I think this is the final trial. A lot is happening right now, and we just got to the point where they say the title. It's getting emotional. I have like 30 pages left. Well, I finished it. I'm refusing to read the sneak peek of the next book because it doesn't come out until May 2024. It's like, I don't need to get my hopes up. Okay, we finished Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I think we're gonna go with 4-star. This was definitely a good book. I feel like other people would love it, but I don't know, something about it just didn't hit that hard for me. I feel like I wasn't really super invested in the romance, and romance was like the main thing in this book. Like, it was romance with a side of fantasy rather than fantasy with a side of romance, and I think I prefer like fantasy with a little bit of romance. Something about like the whole world of it, like why the elites didn't like the ordinaries, just was kind of like whatever. Like, it didn't really make sense. Like, it was like, that's just dumb. It was pretty good. I thought it was gonna be more trial-y, and that's kind of what I wanted, but it was definitely like just the romance mostly. But if that's your thing, you would love this because there's just so much tension between the characters. But I went into it wanting more fantasy and like trials than there were. I liked the vibes of it. Clearly I'm editing this, but I just felt like all I did was bash the book, but it was such a good book. Actually, it was so fast paced, and like I couldn't put it down. Like, her writing, I think this was her debut, and it was like so good and interesting. There was a lot of characters I really liked in the series, and I liked kind of like some side plot things, but it was good. I feel like all I did was talk crap about it, but it was a very, very good book. 4-star. I just didn't love it as much as other people who have read it did. The next book, I'm not going to start it now because I have some things to do, but I think I'm going to read The 7-Year Slip next, or My Roommate's a Vampire, I think it's called. It's in my car. I just bought it yesterday. But this book, I've heard amazing things about this book and this author, so I'm pretty sure what happens is our main girl moves into a new apartment, and when she gets there, it's set 7 years in the past. The guy there, I kind of think I think he's a ghost. Maybe he's not a ghost and it's just like he's just from 7 years in the past. I'm not sure, but it seems super interesting. I definitely either want to read this one or My Roommate's a Vampire. They're both kind of like the same vibe. Like they move into an apartment and the person there is like not what they expect. That's definitely what I want to read. I don't know. I might go with this one. I just wanted to update. I started a 7-year slip. I got to page 32. Definitely not into it yet because I'm 30 pages in, but I hope it gets good. So yeah. I apologize about the phone audio, but I've read literally like 3 pages today, but we have met the love interest. So the whole point of this is how the apartment's like set 7 years in the past. We still haven't fully found out like how that works or like why or like how it's gonna affect other parts of her life. So I'm gonna keep reading because I need to figure that out because my brain's just like not understanding. Hello, it's another day. I am picking this up. I've been slacking. I kind of feel like I'm in a little bit of a slump. I'm on page 82. It better start getting interesting sooner. Things are gonna go downhill. It's been a fat minute. I haven't read in like 2-3 days really. I have like no desire to read, and I'm not saying that it's the book. I'm saying I'm not in a romance mood. We're gonna switch it up and try something new. I think I'm gonna try either this, and if this doesn't work, go into this. I just want something quick that I can get into. Not DNFing the 7-year slip, just putting it down for now. Hello, it's been a fat minute since I last read and updated, but I'm into all in now. The 7-year slip I put down. I know that it's gonna be an amazing book, but I just cannot do a romance right now. So I'm on page 128 and it's going good. I'm definitely really interested in this story. I think the whole like setting of it's really interesting, and it kind of is focusing on another character's past, and I'm super interested to see that. One thing though, there's like a tiny subplot of romance, and like that I just don't really care and like love that relationship. Like it's just not clicking for me, but we haven't got that much, so we'll see. Yeah, I'm gonna keep reading. Okay, I thought I'd update. I haven't read it all today, but I thought I'd update. I think I made some more progress since I last updated last night. I'm on page 180. I'm loving this one so far. I hopefully want to finish it today. I don't even feel like I read a lot, and I made it to like halfway yesterday, but I just wanted to show you guys something. So if you watched my like bookshelf redoing, I have technically like 3 shelves in my room, but my big one is like completely full. So like if I get any more books, I don't have anywhere to put them. So I had a dresser over here, but I put like a cube storage thing so it can double as a dresser and a bookshelf. See, so like down here I have clothes, and then I thought I was gonna have more books to put on this. I'm like kind of proud of myself that I don't, but eventually this one at least will be all books. Not sure if this one's gonna have more clothes or books. I also have my TBR cart and this shelf, and the cart was packed to the brim. Just put like the books that I want to read ASAP on the cube shelf for now. So yeah. Attack! So he knows the command attack, and he has a violent history, so maybe I shouldn't have taught him attack. In this one, the like mystery revolves around these like numbers math thing, and it's just not clicking with my brain. So you don't really like have to understand it though. Like I'm still understanding the story, I just don't understand the math. The math ain't math for me, you know? It's getting crazy. Stress levels are high. Like when something stressful is happening, I just read ahead. I don't even read most of it, I just skim. What the? Okay, let's finish the book. Okay, this just started getting really fast paced. Like something big was just dropped, and then we got like one sentence, and then no planning, just straight into it. Okay. So I'm starting the other one right now. Oh my gosh, this book is insane. So this is obviously the last one in the series, book 4, and the main like plot is something that has been building the entire series, and it is insane. The ending is gonna be insane. I know it. I'm on page 163 and it is so good. Reading update. I'm sorry it's on my phone. I did not bring my camera. But I'm on page 226 and it is so good, you guys. I could binge this whole book if I had the time today. But I was leaving the house and I was carrying an Alani and like 30 other things, and I spilled the Alani all over myself and my book. I don't know if you can tell, it's not super bad, but it's just like gonna be water damaged, which kind of sucks, but it's not too bad, so it's good. I just wanted to share that because I know we all hate water damaged books. But I'm gonna read in here for a bit. I got here too early because I was out running errands and I didn't want to go home, so I'd have to turn around and leave right away, but now I'm just sitting here early. Hey, a little update. I'm on page 282. This is definitely like my favorite one out of the series, I think. It is so good. There's just like stuff happening like every couple pages. Like right now something's happening. This one I did predict this one, but it's so good, so interesting. I'm gonna keep reading. I forgot that there was like the novella in this, so I'm like about to finish the book. So the ending went crazy as it always does, but something about it is they always wrap up so quick. Like what happened could have been drug out for like 50 pages and it would have been fine, but it was over in like a chapter or two, which is cool. I think I'm about to finish it because I just remembered the novella's in it, so yeah. Hey, I finished Bad Blood, kind of. So in this book there's like Bad Blood, and then the last like 100 or so pages is the novella 12, which is what I'm reading now. It's low-key going good. It's really interesting because we're getting past POVs too and different characters' POVs, which I love. With the ending of Bad Blood, like stuff was going down and I'm like, dude, I still have like 100 pages left because I forgot the novella was in it. So when it happened I was like, oh, you know, because I thought it was gonna go on longer. Also, I feel like her endings always just wrap up really quickly and end like perfectly fine within like a chapter, which this one could have been drug out for a long time and I wouldn't have minded. So that's that. I only really want to read for the rest of the day. That's all I want to do. I'm gonna finish 12 right now, and then I think I'm gonna go back to the 7-year slip and force myself to finish it, even though I want to read fantasy. I have finished the novella. I think it ended in a really nice way. We got some closure about characters past and what they're doing in the future. Loved it. Quick little update. I'm on page 170, so I started on page 80 and I'm just binging it. It is so good and I'm giggling, I'm smiling, all the things. I'm like halfway through. I really want to finish it today. I've been about to cry for the last like 30 pages. Well, I think it was 5 stars. We'll get into it in the wrap-up section, which is next. My camera's gonna die, so. Hello and welcome to the wrap-up section of today's video. We are starting off with Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Now, this book I ended up rating a 4-star book. I've seen a ton of people just absolutely rave about this book, like give it 5, 6 stars, but that is just not how I felt. But I just didn't feel like the 5-star feeling or 6 stars with this book, but it was a solid 4-star read. It was so like addicting. I finished this in I think 1 or 2 days, which is insane. It was just really fast-paced and entertaining, which I love in a book. I love like reading fantasy books where the main girl is just like a bad bee. She's like good at fighting, good at stealing, you know, and that is what we got from this book. I loved the vibes about when they were in the palace preparing for the trials, and that was just fun. I loved like the side characters, the friendships, all of that. There was a really good like plot twist at the end, kind of like the side stories too, or like what else is going on was really interesting too. Some things I didn't love about this, I didn't really love the romance. Like a lot of people just like love the guy, but I just didn't really love him, you know? And I just felt like there was just like too much of the romance. I did not need to read about them flirting for most of the book, and it just kind of got repetitive, what they were saying and how they were talking to each other, all of that. I wish there was more of the trials. They like hyped them up and then they like fell very flat. Like they lasted just like a couple chapters. They were honestly kind of lame. Sorry. I just wish that the like world building and fantasy trials were just better developed, I guess. Also the magic system about like how the ordinaries are banished and they're just like terrible, all that made zero sense. Like the whole time I'm like, why is this even a thing? It just didn't make any sense on why anyone would even think that it makes sense, or like why would they just all go along or believe that. It just really didn't click for me. But other than that, I did like the magic system in general, on how everyone had like these different powers, but the idea that the ordinaries were just so much worse than everyone and like that they needed to be like banished, just I was like, why would anyone believe the king when he did that? Like that makes no sense. But that is Powerless. So next we read All In by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I can't really go into much with this one since it's the 3rd book in a series, but The Naturals is like YA Criminal Minds, so this one I really liked the case that they were working on, and I just love this series and the characters so much. So the whole like case and story that this was on, I loved the vibes, the setting, all of that, and you got more into another character, like their past and everything, and I loved that because I love the character that this kind of focused on a bit more, so that was super fun. I don't really have any negative things to say about this. I mean, it was a solid 4-star book. I don't really think it's a 5 because I don't think about it enough for it to be a 5, but yeah. And then I started the 7-Year Slip and put it down for a bit, so I'm going to talk about that at the end. But then I picked up Bad Blood by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I give this one a 4.5. This was probably my favorite out of the series. There were just so many plot twists that like it was insane. It was so entertaining, and I binged this book in like 2 or 3 days. And this one, I really liked this one because it tied all of the other books in together. So like stuff that's been going on since book 1 kind of wrapped up in here and was dealt with in here, and I loved that. There was like some twists that like shook me. I was not expecting some of them. Some of them obviously you expect a bit, but some of them she gets you good. The only really negative thing I have to say is the ending I felt wrapped up too quickly. I forgot that the novella was in this book too, so I was expecting like 100 more pages of something. So when like the main thing was going down at the end, I was like expecting it to get drug out for like 100 more pages, but it wrapped up in like 1 chapter. Like I just feel like with a lot of her endings they just wrap up too quickly, and it's just too easy, I guess. Like we could have totally drug out this ending for like 15 more pages and it would have been fine, and maybe even better. That was that. I still loved it. And then we have the novella 12. This one I ended up giving a 4-star. It's like a novella, but this one though, it was like a really good novella because it was still like a story, but like there's still a plot, there's still the mystery aspect. It was still like a book from the series, but it was just shorter, and I really liked that. And I also liked you got past POVs from other characters, which I loved because we got more insight into their past. Loved that. That was such a vibe, and it just wrapped up nicely on what the characters are doing now. And then lastly I read The 7-Year Slip, and this was a 5-star read, you guys. This book was so good. I cannot believe that I put it down for like a week. I don't know, like I just wasn't in a romance mood, I guess, but then I picked it back up and literally binged it in a couple of hours. I loved the concept of this. I just thought it was so unique, the idea that like there's like a time jump type thing, like they're 7 years apart. That is just so interesting to me, and I loved how it all wrapped up. Like it was incredible. I feel like this book also had just like really good underlying themes. Like it talked a lot about grief and just kind of like finding yourself and figuring out what you want to do with your life, and that it's okay to figure figure it out later, quote, even though there's not like a set time. I loved like the side characters, her friends, his friends, all of that. Her writing is just incredible, and there's like funny parts, there were sad parts. I was like borderline in tears, and I just loved how it wrapped up. It wrapped up so well, and like everything just ties together perfectly. I love the setting. I want to say it's set in New York, or it feels like New York. I don't really know. The vibes of this are just incredible. It gives like fall vibes, but I don't know if it's technically set in the fall, but it just gives like those like cozy fall vibes, and I can tell this is going to be a comfort book for me. Definitely a 5-star. I could reread this right now and be fine. That is the what I read in 2 weeks technically, but yeah, let me know if you like this type of video, like what I read in a week realistically, or if you want me to do like a themed reading vlog, let me know down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.